Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our CBL X's and O's podcast for season 2023. We've got Sammy Gazzo out of the Mildura Heat joining me again today, and we're reviewing what was round 7 in the Northwest. Now, interesting round here, Sammy. Shaping ladders a little bit. We've knocked off a couple of teams out of the top 4, but there's still multiple teams contending for the top 4 positions.
Yeah, it's been a busy weekend, which is great. That's what we wanted. We wanted a little bit of chaos. I think majority of the games sort of went the way that we would have spoken about, predicted sort of last week. No real upsets, as it were. But yeah, just interesting to see how it's going. There's still a couple of teams that can come into those top 4. So I think both divisions have got about 5 teams that can lock it in. So I'm still waiting for that 3-way tie, hopefully next week, that you have to explain to everybody why you've chosen them and why you haven't. But yeah, we'll see how we go. We'll have a look at that later.
Let's start Saturday night when Macedon took on Kyneton, and Macedon had the home court advantage and they ran out 20-point winners.
Yeah, so that was a game for them that they would have seen, hoping not to lose, as Kyneton haven't won just yet. Seems like there was a bit of a tussle there, but yeah, Macedon hopefully wanting to get that to keep their finals hopes alive, and they did that, took care of business. So they'll take 20 points, and Josh O'Connell, as he has been most of the season, leading the way there with 24 points. So I think for Kyneton, maybe the season can't end sooner enough. I mean, 0-9 isn't exactly how they wanted to have gone about it, especially now missing Mangan there, their best player. So Macedon keeping their finals chances alive.
And Echuca welcomed Swan Hill into Echuca to take on the Pirates, and they were able to run out 10-point winners in that game.
Yeah, I mean, and looking at the scores as well, 93-83 is quite high scoring. So I don't know. We're wondering where that's been all year from both teams, maybe. But how good is that? Being able to protect home floor is a big thing, and good on Echuca. Yeah, that's win number 2 for the season. They would have been pretty happy with that. So I don't know, finding a bit of late form, maybe, not too sure, but you take a win late in the season, and Stacey Richardson there leading the way with 17 points. Obviously had a great game. So yeah, great job to Echuca.
And your team, Mildura, welcomed Maryborough into the hothouse, and Archer Hammond did a fair bit of work for you guys, shooting 20 points, and you ran out with an 8-point win.
Yeah, it was an interesting game from our perspective. Zach Dunmore, who we've spoken about a bit, obviously he's a highly touted player and a really good player. Obviously he's averaging 30 points over the 5 games he's played. So definitely, someone to watch, one of the better players in the competition. Didn't come up, and but they've got great talent in their team, led by Bailey Jacobs, who had a great game, and Kai Swards as well, so 18 points each. But yeah, we were able to defend home floor and do a bit more extra work in the second half, and yeah, obviously happy to get the win, definitely.
And Bacchus Marsh welcomed Melton into their home court, and they just couldn't get over the line. The Lions, they went down by just over 25 points, and I guess Melton are looking pretty strong to finish this season off.
Yeah, it was going to be an interesting one. I think for Melton, they'd want to keep their top 4 hopes and finals alive, and Bacchus Marsh needed to make sure that they won that to keep any sort of chance they had alive. And Melton would have just come in prepared, and looks like they came out pretty comfortable winners. So Bob Bock again leading the way with 24 points. So, Melton is still one of those 5 teams that have a chance to play finals and knock Bacchus Marsh out. So no snags during finals time out of Bacchus Marsh, I think. So
unfortunately not. But Echuca continued their late form of the season. They took on Melton on Sunday. They went down by 6 points. Yes, they did lose, but having only won 2 games for the season and being within 6 points of Melton, who are going to finish second or third most likely, that's a really good effort from the Pirates.
Yeah, I think you're jumping the gun on Melton finishing second or third. We'll go through that later. But, like I said, late season form, it seems. I do have a little bit of a look and did see that Melton were missing a couple of their starters, so that probably does make just a little bit of a difference. especially a key big, and knowing Echuca, who are quite big and quite physical, they probably did take advantage of that. But in saying that, you still got to do the job with whoever's playing. So, yeah, good on Echuca for giving it a crack. But again, Melton probably very happy they got out of that one because that still gives them a chance to make the top four. Not 2 or 3, I don't think. Just not nothing, I'm just saying. But we'll have a look at that.
We'll see where they land after round 8. Hey, Swan Hill got back onto their home court and were able to get back on the winners list, getting over the top of Maryborough by 6 points. And it must be tough coming out of the hothouse on a Saturday night and coming down to Swan Hill on a Sunday. They seem to be getting wins in Swan Hill on a Sunday after you guys have beaten the teams up.
Look, no comment on that, but I'd love if we could have someone on a Sunday after Swan Hill, if we can put that as a request for next year, even though 6 hours after playing on a Sunday travel's not ideal for anyone. But no, it is. It's a tough place to play. We had to do something similar where we played Bacchus Marsh on the Saturday night and then travelled out to Swan Hill on the Sunday. And, you know, it is a tough venue. It's a great venue to play at. It's really nice home court. But, yeah, Lockie Gardner clearly was ready to go with 35 points on the Sunday. That's a big effort. Bailey Jacobs did what he could for Maryborough. But, yeah, Maryborough don't play any more games. That's their 10 games done. So, you know, the start of the round, they had a chance potentially to make finals, and dropping both games will probably see them out of the top 4. So, yeah, probably not an ideal way to end, but hopefully some positives they can get out of this season moving into next season.
And Bendigo hosted Macedon Rangers on Sunday, and Bendigo were able to get the win, which definitely keeps their Final 4 aspirations alive, and it makes it a little bit tougher for Macedon now, this defeat.
Yeah, so part of our sort of preview to this round, the expectation was that probably Melton would take care of, will beat Bacchus Marsh and would beat Echuca, and that Macedon would beat Kyneton and probably lose to Bendigo. So I think it just sort of makes that last game between, I mean, we'll go through it anyways, but Macedon and Melton, the head-to-head last game is going to be potentially, well, it is. It's going to be the one that goes through. So Bendigo did what they needed to do, take care of business, and that I think will secure their place in the top 4. And it'll just be Macedon and Melton that'll battle it out. But we'll go through that in the previews. I know I can't get ahead too much. But, yeah, good on Bendigo there for taking care of business.
That's it. Now let's have a look at the ladder, and we can chat about it a little bit here. We got Mildura on top, 8-1, pretty much locked in the top 2 positions. Castlemaine 7-1, again, pretty much locked in the top 2 positions. I don't want to be locking people in because who knows what will happen next week in round 8.
Okay, all right. Well, I think we're locked in at top 2. I think even if we are to lose next week, I do believe at 2 losses, that would leave us above everybody else. Would that be correct? Besides Castlemaine?
I think it will, but I don't.
Okay.
Until we dig
in. There's one game. You can come on. You can't shake that up. There's one game, so that at least Castlemaine may be a bit more movement, but us, we can't move too much. Jeez, come on, give the viewers something.
That's correct. You guys can't. You can't drop out.
Move 1 or 2. 1 or 2. Yeah, he's committed. That's huge, guys. That's huge.
Whoa. Then we've got 3rd place currently is Melton, 6-3. Bendigo are 4th with a 6-3 record as well. And then the only other team that can still make the top 4 is the Macedon Rangers. They've got a 5-4 record. They play Melton in round 8. So the winner of that is pretty much going to get one of the final 2 positions. Then it all depends on Bendigo's result as well. So we can't take that into account until that result comes through in round 8. But if Bendigo win, they'll be in the top 4, and then the winner of the Melton Macedon Rangers game will be in the top 4 as well. And then I don't have any calculations. It's great. That's going to be pretty simple. If Bendigo lose and Macedon win, you'll get your 3-way tie. That's for sure. Then we've got.
Oh, I can't say. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just leaving it. I can't say anything. We can't tell Bendigo to lose. That's not how we do things. No. But yes, no, I understand. I understand. We probably will eventuate. Yeah. No, I don't think Bendigo will want to lose this weekend. I think they're pretty happy to win and keep going into finals. So no, we're not going to. But yeah, No, yeah, we'll talk about that in the preview, but that's what it looks like. It looks like us, Castlemaine, Melton, Bendigo, Macedon, 4 out of the 5 will play finals. So we'll go through that in the preview.
That's it. Bacchus Marsh sit in 6th, currently 4-5 record. Maryborough finished their season with a 4-6 record. Now, do you think they're going to be happy with that, the 4-6 record? Now, they're the only team finished. Look, they started slow. Zach Dunmore come in and made a bit of an impact. So they're probably going to be reasonably happy with the season they've had.
Look, I can't speak on their behalf, but looking at their list, yeah, like Saturday night they look great, and you throw Zach in there. So Zach played 5 games, and you'd say they might have won maybe 5. Look, I don't know, but say he played 5 games, they might have won 3 out of the 5 or something like that. So you wonder if he played a full season, do they pick up another 2 or 3 wins and play finals? You just don't know. But whether they're happy with it, I'm not too sure. But it is a tight competition. So, yeah, on any given night, anybody can beat anybody. So, that's one thing we've sort of realised. There hasn't been too many major upsets, but, there's been a couple of losses you wouldn't have predicted. So, look, that's the way CBL is. We've got 10 games to do what we can do, and, yeah, we do our best. So, Maryborough are a good team. Hopefully, if they can keep those core guys and go again next year, I'm sure they can go a step further.
Swan Hill are 8, 3-6 record. Echuca 9, 2-7 record, and Kyneton round out the ladder with a 0-9 record. Hoping to chase that win in round 8, Kyneton are, that's for sure.
Yep.
Let's have a look in the women's games, and Macedon took on Kyneton on Saturday night, and Kyneton, top of the table team, really showed to the competition why they're on top, running out just over 60-point winners.
Yeah, so I do understand that Macedon were missing a couple of players, a couple of crucial players. So they look like they did have a tough weekend with those players out. Now, we also know that Kyneton aren't a big, high-scoring team. They're usually around the 60s mark. They do their work on defence. So you can see that they were missing a few key players, and I think Kyneton were the first team that played Macedon on the weekend, definitely took advantage of it. So 64 points is a huge margin. Yeah, probably unfortunate for the girls or women that had to play for Macedon, but for Kyneton, you got to play who you got to play. You got to beat who's in front of you, and the women took care of business on Saturday night. So, yeah, good on them.
And Mildura couldn't defend the home court against Maryborough, going down by 10 points, and it's shaken the ladder a little bit, this win by the Blazers.
Yeah, it has. Like we spoke about last week, they found some form late. Did have a bit of look at the game. They're quite tall, quite long. Moments I saw they were in a zone, so they were able to pack the paint and sort of keep you guessing and keep you at bay. And you really had to have a good plan in how to attack it. So, it isn't easy to come up here and win. With our women's team in good form, but good on Maryborough. I mean, it's almost like if they had another round or two, a couple more games, you might see them a bit higher. But good on them. They found form late. Hopefully that's something they can take into next season's CBL. So yeah, good on them. And obviously Faith McKenzie, as you speak about all the time, they're scoring there with 21 points. And for us, Alana Morello's doing quite well. She had 31 points. But Maryborough, good on them for winning. Great job.
And Bacchus Marsh did what they could to keep their finals hopes alive by getting over the top of arch rivals, neighbouring association in Melton. This is a really good thing for the Lions. It just keeps their season alive and keeps that opportunity for them to make that top 4.
Yeah, it does. That's probably, look, it's not that we'd say that Melton were definitely going to win it, but it's the game that's put Bacchus Marsh back in that discussion. They have got a couple games in hand, and Melton does as well, but it just sort of keeps things interesting, doesn't it? So instead of, we're talking about 4, and we thought the women were just going to, 2, 3, 4, we're going to dance around a little bit. But it looks like we've got another contender in Bacchus Marsh. So for me, chaos is great. I know you just want to keep everything nice and simple, but chaos is great. So good on Bacchus Marsh, and obviously podcast favourite, Layla Iglesias there, top scoring with 16 points. Bacchus Marsh, so maybe she's finding a bit better health after, going down a couple of weeks ago. And, it just makes things interesting going into the last round, doesn't it?
It sure does. And Maryborough continued their winning form
Yep.
on Sunday when they took on Swan Hill in Swan Hill, and they were able to pick up their fifth win for the season.
Yep. Again, like I said, it's almost like if they had a couple more games, they'd potentially make a bit more of a case for finals. But tough game to play up against Swan Hill, carrying a bit of form, but they're probably happy with the way they finished the season. Not sure how many on the trot, but they might have had 3 or 4 on the trot to end the season. So finishing well. Maybe just need a little extra time to gel together. But good on them. And Faith McKenzie again, 23 points. Led the scoring for them. It just seems like a tough afternoon for Swan Hill.
And Bendigo were the other team to take on the short-handed Macedon Rangers, as you mentioned earlier. They ran out really convincing winners, unfortunately, on Sunday.
Yeah, probably not too much. 120 to 41, if we're going to say the scores there are just on shy of 80 points, 79-point win and loss. Not much we can say there. Bendigo just took advantage, and good on them. You got to beat who's in front of you. And Poppy Blanche, 27 points, decided to have a bit of an afternoon. So, tough for Macedon. Again, short-handed, and Bendigo, it's probably helped them solidify their position in that top 4.
Sure has. Now let's have a look at the ladder. Kyneton sit on top with an 8-1 record, and I'm going to lock them in for a top 2 finish.
Whoa!
Top of the ladder finish.
Whoa! Okay.
Bendigo sit. This is where it starts getting shaky, though. Bendigo sits second with a 6-3 record. Mildura third with a 6-3 record. Melton fourth with a 5-3 record with still 2 games to play. All the other teams are above them, have only got 1. We then got Bacchus Marsh on a 4-4 record with 2 games still to play. Maryborough finished for the season 5-5. Swan Hill with a 1-7 record, and Macedon round out the bottom 0-9. So still 5 teams playing for top 4. 4 teams playing for 3 positions when Kyneton are going to finish clear top of the table.
So Kyneton, Bendigo, my understanding, will have head-to-head on Mildura, just from their current standings. Bacchus Marsh, I think, are visiting Mildura next week, so they'll have probably the Mildura Swan Hill double. So, a win against Mildura has Mildura 6-4, and then if they take care of both, that has them at 6-4. And what happens with the head-to-head, you need to work that out, and then percentage. And so, maybe the women's might be a little bit more interesting than the men's. I like to see that. Good.
Bendigo played Kyneton as well in round 8.
Like that. So again, so then if you have Bendigo on 6-4 and Melton on 6-4 and Mildura on 6-4 and Bacchus Marsh on 6-4, you're going to have to go on the show next week and explain how you picked 2, 3, and 4.
That's it. We might get there in the women's for you. You might have got your wish.
Yes, but that's 4 teams. That's better than 3. How are you going to work that out? You're going to have to Google and work something out and really sell it to me next week on why someone is missing out on finals.
We don't have to Google. We go to the rules of operations. That's what the rules are there for. We read the rules.
Yeah, but they were done by Google. They were Google. So, all right, rules of operation. Can we get to those? No, I'm leaving. You know what you're doing.
That shows how close of an action we have in the women's. Round 8. Yeah. It all comes down to round 8, and I reckon one of them games will be on Sunday afternoon next week as well, which will mean less time to prepare for this podcast.
We might have to change the day we do it just to put you under the pump.
Maybe. We'll see what happens. But that's our round 7 review in the Northwest Conference. Again, results have shaken the ladders up in both the men's and the women's. We've still got multiple teams fighting for the top 4 positions, which means round 8 this weekend is going to be a cracker. Some really intense and close games to come, and I look forward to jumping on a call later this week with you, Sammy, and we'll preview what will be round 8 in the Northwest Conference. So for our fans, viewers, listeners out there, Stay tuned.